Can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so we're seeing Andre's project. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
let's see. Okay. All right, Andre. So I had a look at the two, like the previous version and your current version. I see that there've been some lighting tweaks. Um, but maybe first of all, you could kind of tell me your kind of lighting intent and what you wanted to do with this scene, just to get me up to
Sure.
speed.
Yeah. The scene is I basically just wanted to kind of like have a very dingy, back alley, dirty kind of idea where it's like a kind of like a deal gone bad kind of vibe where it's like, he got shot by her, and even though they were like partners or something, it's like, oh, you shot me, and she's trying to say, oh, I didn't mean to kill you. Um, so it was basically just this, like, we went to the back alley to figure this out, and here we are talking about this. So that's kind of like the whole vibe that I try to get
Hmm.
with the texturing of the scene, and also the lighting, kind of like a little bit uh, uh, dramatic, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's
it's, yeah, it's working really well. I'm really liking the scene, how you've lit it. Um, and did you add fog or atmosphere in the background there?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
HODL
did.
said.
cool. Yeah, it's looking well, and I see that from your previous version, you've sort of dimmed the screen left lights on the
Yeah,
wall.
I did. I dimmed the screen, the light on the wall. I did give his pants a little bit more uh,
Yep, bit more shape.
separation from the
Hmm.
background. Yeah, a bit more
Yep,
shape.
yep,
Also a little bit more light on the dumpster so that it doesn't blend into the background.
gotcha. Yep,
And I think that was it.
yep, yep. I'm liking it. I like the just the general lighting on the face. The the beauty lighting on his face is working really well. Just um, it's got some really nice. It's etching out some really nice detail in his hair and on his features. And I'm wondering whether I like that you've got like an eye ding on his green right eye. I'm wondering whether you could maybe bring that up just a little bit,
Okay.
um, just to kind of draw the eye towards his face a little bit more. Um, I think automatically, because you've got the haze in the background there and the lighting on his face, automatically the eye is drawn to his face, and that's working really well. But yeah, just a little bit more exposure on that eye ding would be
Uh-huh.
would kind of draw the eye a little bit more towards his face. Um,
Hmm.
that's pretty much it in terms of. Let's see, it's it's actually yeah, you've actually done it from the previous version, lifted up maybe just a little bit more on that lighting. Um, yep,
Okay.
yep,
Cool.
yeah. That's pretty much all I've got to say for now. That's looking really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so tell me more about this one here. A mind
So,
like mine.
So yeah, this one is it's basically the guy saying, you know, oh my God, I'm so gifted, amazing, you know, this school bores me, and I'm trying to have it in a way that it's like, no, the school is actually really good. You know, you're the one that thinks you're way too good for everybody, way too cool for school. Uh, so like I had like now it's kind of like dimmed down and washed out, but like the paintings on the wall are like Picasso and blah blah blah, as if they were students there, you know.
Right.
But that's basically, you know, and also even like the writings on the desk, it's like everybody has some artistic freedom and stuff there. It's like you're not better than anyone.
Mm.
Um, but also at the same time trying to get this somewhat warm, uh, comfortable feeling, as if this school is a, you know, a warming, approachable place, not
Yep.
a cold, you know, kind of a
Gotcha.
terrible place.
Yep. Like a warm, welcoming place of learning rather than the sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, you've definitely got that feel across really well. Um, and I'm just looking at your latest version and your previous version and the changes you've made. Um, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's mainly been about adding the atmosphere and the haze on the screen left. Um,
Yeah, adding the atmosphere and the haze in the screen left, bumping the exposure on the desk a tiny bit,
yep,
and I think that was it.
yep,
Oh, and I think I did the bump the exposure on the eyes also a little bit, tiny bit.
gotcha, yep. So I guess adding the atmosphere serves to kind of separate him from the background somewhat. Um,
Yeah,
yep, I think that's a good move because it's sort of
I'm,
um,
I'm wondering if I'm wondering if the atmosphere is a bit too strong though.
um, perhaps you could knock it back a little bit and um, maybe bring back some of that warmth that was in the previous version back there. Um,
Okay.
not, I wouldn't go too crazy with bringing back the warmth, but yeah, knock it back, say 25%, and then maybe bringing a little bit of warmth back as well with that. Um, but it does serve really well to
Mm-hmm.
it does serve really well to separate the you know his character from the background because he's kind of you could say that his intent is kind of at odds with his environment. Like it's a very welcoming environment, and um, he seems to be uh, see himself as above the school and apart from the school. So kind of etching
Yeah,
his
like
character.
he's being a jerk.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah. So maybe separating him from his environment, this kind of warm environment, could be a good thing. And maybe, maybe you could amplify that difference in perhaps using slightly cooler lights on him and
Okay.
and then exaggerating the warmth on his environment, perhaps. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's something to try. It it may or may not work, but I'm wondering whether we could think of ways to sort of exaggerate this feeling that he is at odds with his environment.
Hmm.
But other than that, your shaping on him is really nice, with just that main key. Are you using are you using any lights on the field side to sort of bring up the field side?
I'm using a large light in front of him,
Yep,
uh, like very large, like kind of like the size of the back wall, but on the in front of him,
yep.
and then doing using other lights to do the key lights, using
Gotcha.
the large one as a little fill,
Mm,
and then the other one as the keys.
gotcha. No, that's working really well. Got some nice shaping in there on his face. Um, yeah, I don't have any comments for that. It's looking really good.
Cool, awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, Andre. It's looking great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So maybe Ronald's, we might, since you're here, we might go to yours.
All right.
And I've seen this scene before, and I've seen it lit. So it's a familiar scene for me. But maybe you could give me a summary of your the way you arrived at this scene with the lighting and your intent and what you wanted to do with the scene.
Yeah, of course. Uh, Basically, I've tried to achieve to have the. Oh, sorry, one moment. uh, so my goal was to have the focal point be the door and the tree as well, while keeping a good contrast from the background. I've started out with some God of War concept art references, as well as some real life photos I've taken that inspired the lighting itself, basically.
Great. And so I have your two latest versions. This one is your latest, I believe, and this one is
Yes.
the previous one. And I see that you've added some accent lighting on the leaves, on the tree, and also on the foreground reeds or grass, the sort of orange.
Yes.
Yep,
Um, but the lighting on the leaves are done in a composition in Nuke.
yep, yep,
I've just glued it up a bit.
yep.
But other than that, you're right. And I've hue corrected a bit the green grass in between the yellow grass in the foreground, so it's not as contrasty. And I did
I
a
see.
vignette to the screen left as well to have some shaping on the foreground yellow grass.
Got you. So like right here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That really that really gives it some depth there. That's working really well. um, and is the intent to focus the viewer's eye on the door and this kind of general area?
Yes. The uh, importance of the focal point maybe is the way I would word it. Might not be the best way to word it, but to lead the eye from the path to the stairs and to the door. So like yes,
Yep,
but the main focus is the door and the tree itself.
yep, yep. That's working. You definitely succeeded in that. That's definitely where my eye gets drawn to when I look at the scene. Um, some nice little detail here with the mushroom as well. It's kind of cute. Um, but I can see there's been a lot of work lighting the scene. I like the atmosphere in the backgrounds and how that serves to kind of separate the tree from um, all those from the rock wall in the back. So that's really nice. Um,
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, and I like how the light is dappled here. Um,
Mm.
yep, it's working really well. I feel like you're probably at a stage that now that you're pretty much, I'd say you're pretty much done with this scene. Um, what are your thoughts? Do you think there needs to be more done, or do you have anything that you'd like me to comment on?
Uh, Now, 1 second, sorry. Yes, uh, uh, I don't remember the right word, but the point is that yes, I like how it looks now as well. I think
Yeah,
I'm okay with moving on and considering it done. Sorry.
yeah,
uh,
I think it's pretty done. I can't really see. Um, I don't have any further comment really. Um,
all right, thank you so much. Thinking about originally this had a slight camera animation to give it some rotation and movement in space, but I'm not at a stage yet where I can render it on my PC, so it will have to wait.
right. Okay. And what software are you using for this?
I'm using Maya and Nuke.
Yep. And the renderer?
Yeah, sorry, Arnold. Arnold.
Arnold. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Arnold is a bit of a beast. Yep.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
looking really good.
uh, thank you. Apparently, or not apparently, sorry, a question came to my mind. Can you
Yes.
see the dots? It was meant to be dust. It's more visible above the water on screen right, maybe, like
Right here.
it maybe looks like noise. And no, to the right of your screen, yeah, in the middle right now, over the vegetation.
Right here. You mean here?
Oh, yes, yes, the brownish, yellowish dots. And those were meant to be dust particles floating in the air.
I see.
Did they come across as such?
To be honest, they could read as that, but I didn't notice them until you pointed them out. um,
Mm,
but they do add to add complexity to the scene. So um, I think they're good being there. Just leaving
all
them
right.
there. Yep.
Uh, Thank you.
Oh,
Then,
okay, now I see them. It's one of those details where like you just wouldn't pick it up unless someone pointed you to it. But now, yeah, I notice them. So that's I think it's a good thing to leave them. Yep.
all right. Thank you. On the animation, it's a bit more apparent because it's two
Ah, right.
layers
It'll right.
and it's parallaxed in.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Then that's it. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Or
You're
I mean,
welcome.
I don't have any further questions. Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. Simon, did you have anything that you wanted me to review?
I did I'm going through the materials and shaders course right now.
Right.
So already went through the Power of Light course before, and that was reviewed. So I
Okay.
decided to close that off. But if
Okay.
you have any feedback on the materials and shaders thing, fine.
I'll take a look, maybe offline, and get back to you if
Yeah,
that's okay.
sounds good.
Yep. Cool. All right. So we've done Andre. We've done Ronald. Okay. Maybe we'll get to Holly. Hi, Holly. um, I am taking a look at your zombie meal scene, and I'm kind of toggling back and forth between the last and the latest version, and I can see that you've uh, done quite a bit of lighting adjustment to the character, and it's looking. I can see that the green rim light is a lot more pervasive on him, and that's the uh, I guess the key light's kind of been swung towards screen right to be more of a kicker or a rim light. Um, I'm wondering whether you could perhaps, because I actually really like um, that the key position here, but perhaps you could swing it back maybe like a third of a way. So instead of all the way back here, which is probably too frontal, I'm wondering whether you could swing it swing it back so that we get. Let me try and see whether I can. Uh, okay, here we go. So it's working. Yeah, so maybe bring back a little bit. It's probably too much, but if you could maybe bring it back a little bit. Obviously not all the way as in here, but just a tad, just so we read a little bit more of his face. And what else? See that the elements on the table are connecting or touching the table now, which is good. And the shape, the light, the sconce shape of the lamp onto the wall is now, I guess, physically more correct. That's looking good. And you've got a lamp or a light from the side lighting up the table just to give it more shape, and that's working really well. And also like a coolish, I see you've got a cool kind of rim here and here again, which is adding some more shape to the character, so that's working really well. Yeah, overall it's looking much better. And maybe you could work on some idings just to kind of complete that lighting on his face. But overall, it's working really well. Thank you, Holly. All right, so we've seen Andre, Miguel. I've seen the animation, so I've done screen grabs of two kind of important frames, and so I'm just kind of cycling between before and after, and I see that there's been kind of a hue shift on the overall lights, so more magenta, less green. And so you've added some extra. You've added some extra bounce or fill here, which is really nice. Yeah, I guess with the shift in the hue in the lights, there's obviously more warmth overall, and that feels really nice. In terms of comments, I think we've lost. I really like this detail from your previous version, the teeth. I'm wondering whether you could maybe bring some of it back, because I feel like it's been obscured by the fog and the mist, because that little detail, you know, gets across this sense of this sense of dread from the creature approaching. Obviously, when we're here, it's quite apparent, but perhaps early on it's a little bit obscured. And I'm wondering whether also I can see that you've got a pencil rim like the beginnings of a kind of a pencil rim. I'm wondering whether you could maybe accentuate that a little bit more, exaggerate it. It's looking great coming from here, like that's looking amazing. But I'm wondering whether you could cheat something underneath just to kind of separate him from the background. He's fine when he turns here. That's looking really nice. That's looking great. Alrighty, but overall, yeah, it's looking nice. It's looking much better. Cool. Thank you. Okay, so Miguel. Okay, next we have Burning Star. It's a good start. I can see that this is your first pass. My first, I guess, response to the lighting is to, I guess, I feel that the characters are a little bit too front lit, and as a result, they look quite flat. So I'm wondering whether you could maybe turn down whatever is kind of front lighting this, and think about trying to bring some of this side lighting onto the character. So this is kind of a perfect opportunity for you to get some some kicker lights onto his face and side, and this will etch him out from the background. Yeah, just generally like his feet and the ground feel very flat, and he kind of feels stuck on to the environment. So think about getting some like an occlusion pass so that his feet feel grounded to the floor. And perhaps, take down whatever frontal light is being cast on him. And same with the lady here. I would try and turn down whatever light that is lighting the front, the torso and the body here. Maybe try and tone that down, and then bring the light from these lamps onto her, like so. And I think in general, the background feels a little bit too bright. Let's see. Okay. All right. So perhaps thinking about maybe exposing down the hallway. Like so. Like that. Bring that down. And then, use these lamps as justification for shaping the characters. Okay? But it's a good start. Thank you. Joey Jang. I can see that you've made some iterations. So this is previous and your latest. And I can see that you've increased the amount of key coming from the outside, the sunlight coming in to the cafe. And this is your reference. So I'd like you to maybe bring it closer to the reference in terms of, at the moment, it looks like it's a little bit too evenly lit, even though you have a light that's going to come from the outside in. So what I mean is the light coming in from the outside, from the photograph, it makes, these figures would tend to go darker. So my sense is that, on the fill side, they would probably go darker, like that. And on the rim lights, so all the lights, the light from the sun would go brighter. I guess that makes sense. So something like this. So I'm wondering whether you could try and get that happening. and the backgrounds. This here would go darker. And then obviously these would become really bright. If you wanted a photographic effect. So these would go brighter. Like that. Yeah. So yeah, have a go at that. So basically bring up the contrast, as typically if you have a bright source coming into an interior, you'd have quite a contrasty image. And yeah, just bring up that contrast level. Make it less even. See how you go. Okay, thank you. Kaya Kim. Yeah, so it's looking pretty amazing. I can see off the bat that you've really tuned into your references really well, and you've really brought the qualities of your reference images into your project. So it's working really well. Lighting wise, I see that you've got like an overcast scene, an overcast day, whether that be because of the pollutants in the atmosphere or, it's just a cloudy overcast day or both. And so the shadows are very soft as a result. And so that's working really well for your scene. The only comment I would say off the bat is I'm wondering whether you could possibly think about composition, because it does feel like your character is a little bit lost in the environment because they're a little bit small, and I'm wondering whether you want to maybe bring them or have them more prominent in the scene. Something like this, perhaps. But that's obviously that's up to you. But I feel like my first inclination is to maybe bring is to crop in and give the character a little bit more prominence in the scene. Okay, thank you. And Kaya Kim, you have another project here, the Sparrow project. And you've got some great reference there, and it looks like you've been quite true to your reference in terms of the qualities of the light, those red hues, and also the cooler greenish kind of fill rim lights. And I can see that you've done a few shots within that scene. I'm wondering though whether you could back off on the defocus for now, and maybe just turn it off for now, because it does make reading of the lighting on your characters just a little bit difficult, especially this one. Maybe if you could resubmit with the defocus turned off, then I can read some of the lighting on your character. But just from here, it looks like, in general, it looks like it's working. The scenes, the shots working really well with the arrow tip. I'm wondering whether this shot, you would want to try, perhaps, swinging your your warm light back a little bit more, so that it does start behaving more of a rim or a kicker. Unless the intent was to kind of have this light on the character. But that's one thing that you could try on this one. I'm wondering for this one, whether you could perhaps maybe back off on some of that cool green. It looks like it's coming from the top. I'm wondering whether you could maybe swing it back a little bit so that it's less front lit. I think it's working well here. The green light, it's kind of side lit from the back, and that's etching out some detail from the background and the character. But yeah, overall, it's a great start. But I'd love to see it resubmitted without defocus, please. Thank you. Rewya, thank you for submitting. This is your reference. It looks like, I could be wrong, but it looks like it's still from Princess Mononoke, which is one of my favorite films. And I have a previous and a current version, and I can see that you've tried to bring in elements from the reference, and I think it's working better. Your composition's working way better. I think with this one, the focal length that you've used, the lens you've used, is probably a little bit too long.
Yarble said, is there any way to revoke sweeper once it sets hooks?
It feels like it's probably like an 85 mil or even longer. So this is, I feel like the character flattens and sort of becomes part of the environment at this point without defocus. So I feel like this wider lens is, it just feels like the scene breathes a lot more. And you've brought in some atmosphere, as in like the reference, to sort of, I guess, bring emphasis on this kind of magical quality that the mushroom has, and that's working really well. If anything, I would try and perhaps back off on the the Atmo on the girl a little bit, just to kind of separate her from the background a bit. Maybe some of these foreground elements you can back off on the atmosphere, just so we have, you know, we're kind of reading some depth. But overall, it's looking like it's a big improvement from your previous iteration. Yeah, so just separate, back off from the Atmo, the foreground character, and maybe some of the foreground elements. And then let's see where you're at. Cool, thank you. And I think that's it. Ronald, we've seen yours. All right, so I guess I guess that's it for this week. I'll be back again same time next week for some more critiques and during the week as well. Alrighty, so thanks to everyone, Andre, Ronald, and Simon for tuning in. And Simon, I'll get back to you about the shader work. But all right, thanks.